So, a year before, you made the second best Friday the 13th movie, and a worthy close to the Friday the 13th movies. But then, a year later, after you said this was the last one, you were like, nope, and you made a fifth movie. A year after your final chapter. Good way to lie. Ay, ay, ay. Hey everyone, it's Movie Lover 120 here, and I'm here with a brand new movie review, and this movie review is gonna be for the fifth installment of the horror franchise I am reviewing, and that is for none other than what is not even a Friday the 13th movie, called Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. I'm sorry, what? This is called Friday the 13th Part 5? Well, technically, it was supposed to be the start of a new era. They were like, okay, Jason died at the end of Final Chapter, we can do a new villain now, but however, it was going to be the first installment in a new era that would make Tommy Jarvis, who comes back in this installment by Ice, slowly become the next Jason Voorhees. But due to the poor reception of this movie, it reverted back to Jason Voorhees with the next movie, Jason Lives. With all the Tommy Jarvis stuff getting scrapped shortly after, although he did appear in Jason Lives. So, yeah. There you go. So, anyway, what do I think of this movie? It's the second worst. This is probably the most boring Friday the 13th movie I ever had a TDC to sit through. And the second, well, yeah, it's the second worst. Because you'll eventually see we're only like 3 movies away from the real worst one coming. Yeah, but anyway, so what is this movie even about? Well, years after Tommy Jarvis, now played by John Shepard, murdered hockey masked serial killer Jason Voorhees, he resides in a mental hospital and struggles with the trauma of the experience. When Tommy moves to an isolated halfway house, he has nightmares about Jason's return, and soon one of the patients, who is played by Dominic Brasca, is killed. As the body count grows, Jason begins to question his sanity and wonder if Jason has risen from the dead. But to determine the killer's identity, Tommy will need to survive. And congrats, this movie hardly has anything to do with Jason. Yep, that's what. So, what are the bad qualities of this movie? Well, outside of Tommy Jarvis's frequent, constant dream sequences, and Roy Burns disguising himself as Jason Voorhees, this has nothing to do with Jason Voorhees whatsoever at all. They pretty much went the same cliches with Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. They marketed it as a Halloween movie and tried to leave Michael Myers alone, but fans did not like that, so they brought Michael Myers back. Yeah, that's the same problems with those, but however, Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is way damn better than this movie, I'll say that much. There's so many ridiculous and unbearable moments, such as Joey Burns literally getting killed by Vic Fenton all over a chocolate bar. What makes this worse is that Vic Fenton yells at him to leave him alone, which though he does, but somehow still gets killed for it, making it feel incredibly forced. Like, almost every character feels unrelatable as they're all crazy and over the top insane for strange reasons that's never explained, making none of the characters even relatable whatsoever. And most of the kills are off screen and feel very poorly made. Though it is somehow excusable, as they were originally on screen, but the MPAA forced them to cut them out. There's so much ridiculous and over the top acting, although this is most likely because of almost all the characters are all crazy for some reason, but this film does a poor job trying to set on what the tone is in for the movie as whether or not it's supposed to be a serious horror flick or a dark comedy. Tommy Jarvis, who is the perfect protagonist from the last movie, he feels so much wasted in this movie, and it's supposed to focus on him, and it would build up to him to become the next Jason. I hardly even focus on him as way too many new characters are being added and shoved in just for the sake of getting many kills as well as to most likely pad the movie to feature length, making his reappearance almost pointless. And it doesn't even help that after this movie's negative reception, all these plans on making the next Jason Voorhees would just be forgotten about as Jason is brought back to life in the next film. So yeah. It overuses the whole car won't start cliche several times to the point it gets really repetitive and annoying at best. They even do this with a chainsaw too. And there's also, yeah, I know the Friday 13th movies are known for having loads of nudity and sex scenes. This one has over loads of it. Way too much on nudity and sex scenes to the point where it's just unneeded. And the final bad quality? Our killer disguised as Jason Voorhees the whole time, Roy Burns, feels somewhat redundant as he begins killing others after his son Joey was killed by Vic with an axe, which led to him being arrested, even though he could have just arrested him and given punishment. Which, by the way, Vic does arrest him, but still does these. Now, is this the number one worst Friday the 13th movie? Well, no. There's still at least some good qualities. I mean, it was nice for them to bring back Corey Feldman as the younger Tommy Jarvis, who plays the character of the previous film, to show some continuing to last film despite being only one scene. And John Shepard gives a pretty solid performance as Tommy Jarvis. And despite being pointless, the scene with one of the guys asking a girl if they could get married only for her to reject him while laughing as he gets overly angry about this is somewhat laughable. While there are a lot of kills in the movie, some of which being pretty well made, such as one in which Eddie is killed with a rope stuck on him as he's behind a tree, and at least most of the movie takes place in a Friday the 13th film, like what the title says, unlike the previous two films. So yeah, at least those are some good qualities. I mean, yeah. And just so you know, guys, this was the last film to be directed by John Steinman before he died on December 2012. Yes. And there you go. Man. But, yeah. As I can call this movie, not my Jason. Not Jason. Whatever, anyways. But, anyway. Yeah, for my final verdict, second worst film in the series, I would probably just skip this and watch Jason Lives, because I don't think they really mention anything to come out of Jason Lives, except for Tommy really getting out of the institute, getting out of a mental institute. That's about that. But other than that, the next film in the series, Jason Lives, doesn't really have any mention of this movie, and it doesn't seem to talk about this movie at all. Which, by the way, guys, is finally the next review, and I cannot wait, because that is my number one favorite Jason movie of all time. But yeah. And until then, that will be it for this. No, I'll say that. I don't say that part yet. Anyway, how am I going to rank New Beginning? Well, here's how I'm going to rank it.
I am going to give Friday the 13th 5 a 4 out of 10.
Well, we just took care of one worst down, one worst to go, which thankfully isn't for another 3 reviews, and I think you know what other worst one I'm talking about is probably going to be. Oh man, I am not excited for that one specific movie, especially with that specific movie's fake title. But until then, that'll be it for this review. Thank you all for watching. If you like this and want to see more, and don't forget to like, subscribe to Movie Lover 120.